Hey everyone, welcome to episode 23 of The Skull Mug, the show in which I drink beer and bullshit for like 20 minutes, or however long it takes me to finish the beer and finish the point that I'm trying to make. On this episode, we are looking at a beer called Domaine Berthiaume. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. I'll show you the can art up close because I really like this one. Got a bunch of very, very beautiful dark elves, she-elves, bathing in this moonlit pond. Really, I fucking love this artwork. It's so cool. Also because I'm a fucking fantasy nerd. And then on the back, you have this French text that's written on like old parchment paper. Super fucking cool. I don't really know what it says completely, but I saw the artwork and I saw the script on the back and I immediately was enticed. I was like, I have to fucking get this shit. This brewery, by the way, they do a bunch of different beers that have like fantasy themes. There's like goblins and like knights and shit like that. It's super nerdy, which is part of the reason why I was attracted to it. But sorry, that's actually the brewery name, Domaine Berthiaume. The beer's name is L'eau claire, which I'm pretty sure just means clear water. It's 4% alcohol volume. It is a blonde lager, 473 milliliters. And Domaine Berthiaume is located in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, here in Quebec. Again, there's text on the back, but I don't really know what it means. So we're going to crack this baby open. Give it a little smell. It smells sweet and a little bit flowery, which I kind of like. And let's go ahead and pour. Oh, I almost got the whole can. Oh, yes! Yo, I did it. I fucking did it. I got the whole can in the first pour. Look at that. I'm fucking impressed with myself. Hell yeah. Alright, let's give it a taste. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit flowery. There's like a hint of citrus in there, but it almost feels more like an IPA as opposed to a blonde. It's like if a blonde had the same taste profile as an IPA without the thickness and the impact that an IPA has. That's how I would describe this. But it's quite good, and at 4%, I mean, it's pretty easy drinking. You know, this isn't something that's going to get you fucked up real quick. It's smooth and it goes down easy. I mean, I guess that's probably why it's named Clear Water. So if you're looking for a beer that would, you know, if you want to get like, you know, 4 or 5 of these tall cans and drink them over the course of the night, you probably won't get as fucked up as you would on like, you know, an IPA or a stout or something like that. So if that's what you're looking for, man, I'd recommend this shit. Again, fucking L'eau claire by Domaine Berthiaume. This is some good shit. I like this. So, what I wanted to talk about in this episode is what I want out of the next Elder Scrolls game. Now, if you watched, I think it was the last episode, I was wearing an Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind long sleeve shirt, which I found an ad for on Tumblr, and I decided to buy it. Very, very happy with that purchase, because even though I've never beaten Morrowind, I have spent a good considerable amount of time playing that game. I am a bit of an Elder Scrolls lore nerd. Like, I don't want to say that I'm like a fucking, like, I'm well versed on like every aspect of that universe, but like, I do spend a lot of my time reading about the lore of that universe. You know, whenever I play Skyrim, I read the books and shit. I love the lore channels like Fudge Muppet and Camelworks and Zarek Zakaron and these different guys who are very, very invested in the lore and the history and themes and philosophy of the Elder Scrolls universe. It's something that really intrigues me, and it's also been a huge influence on the book series that I want to write, which is also fantasy, based in a fantastical world that I've spent about 10 years building, but I'll leave that for another video. Now, Skyrim is a game that I love. I've spent like almost 1,000 hours in-game in Skyrim just on the PC alone, and before I owned it on PC, I owned it on Xbox 360, and I spent a shit ton of time playing the game on that console as well. So I have a lot of opinions about that game, of course, even though I really, really like it, and it's one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, I wouldn't have spent that much time in-game if that wasn't the case. I also have to admit that it has a lot of faults. It is far from perfect. I'm sure anyone who's watching this who's ever spent any time in the Skyrim game world can acknowledge that. There are a lot of problems with it. Now, over on my gaming channel, if you don't know, I do have a gaming channel. It's under the name Misty Walker. I haven't uploaded anything there in a while because I've had some computer issues with my graphics card, and I haven't been able to play any games lately. So that's something that I'm hoping to get fixed before the end of the year so I can get back into recording my playthroughs and shit. But I do have a gaming channel, and one of the featured videos, I think, on the front page of that channel is the top 5 things that I want in The Elder Scrolls 6, which I made immediately after the announcement that The Elder Scrolls 6 was indeed in development, with the release of that teaser trailer that came out at E3 like several years back, which was just, you know, the camera like panning over the landscape of what most people think is Hammerfell and High Rock, which I tend to agree with. It does seem pretty promising that that's where the game is going to take place, like in the Iliac Bay region. And I just kind of wanted to like expand on that, because when I'm thinking back to The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, there's a lot of good in that game, but the main issue that I have is with the story and with the quests. There are some interesting quests in the game, but a lot of them do kind of fall flat, especially since in the intervening years since Skyrim's release, we've gotten other games like The Outer Worlds and of course The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which do such a better job at illustrating like what gamers want out of this kind of RPG story. Now, Skyrim, of course, was very well received by like normie audiences, which is totally fine. I mean, obviously, if you have a big company like Bethesda and you're developing these games that are incredibly popular, you want to try and sell them to as many people as possible. So you want to water things down so that people who might not be initiated on the way that these things work have an easier time jumping in and just, you know, doing whatever they want and learning the ropes with this series and the way that this game rolls. So I understand that, but there are definitely things with Skyrim that I felt and still feel are really, really lacking, especially since Bethesda continues to release new versions of Skyrim. It definitely feels aged, you know, like I love it. I still go in and I spend like countless hours just traipsing around the Rift or whatever, doing anything, you know, just killing bears or just delving into dungeons and killing Draugr because it's fun and because I have a lot of nostalgia associated with the game. But since playing games like The Witcher and The Outer Worlds and these other RPGs that have come out since then, Skyrim does feel like it's not aged as well as it could have. So what I really, really, really want from The Elder Scrolls 6 more than anything is for the quests to be more realized, you know? I don't want it to just be like, hey, follow this objective marker to this place and then kill this enemy or collect this object. I want there to be more twists and turns. Like, whenever I think about the most memorable quests from Skyrim, the one that always pops out to me is the one, I forget the name of it, I think it's A Night to Remember, the quest that's associated with Sanguine, the Daedric Prince of Debauchery. That one always sticks out to me because it's memorable, you know? It's basically like the Hangover film as a quest in Skyrim. You wake up after a night of heavy drinking, you have to retrace your steps and figure out what the hell happened, and then you eventually meet Sanguine and he tells you, oh yeah, like I deceived you, whatever. It's like this whole mystery that you're trying to uncover. Another memorable one is Blood on the Ice, where you're trying to solve the murders, the serial killer. You're trying to catch the serial killer that's going around Windhelm, I think it is, killing all the peasantry. Like, these quests are cool, but there wasn't enough of them in Skyrim, and I felt like they weren't fully realized. It still felt like there was something missing from them. And I think what the Elder Scrolls 6 needs to do, since the technology has advanced so much since 2011, when the game was first released, that they need to do a lot more, and that they can do a lot more. So the example that I used in my top 5 things I want in Elder Scrolls 6 video was in The Witcher 3. There's a quest where you encounter a guy whose brother has gone missing or something, and you go and encounter him, and it turns out that he's like a werewolf, and then there's all these twists and turns, and it's very cinematic, and like the character feels fully realized, even though it's a minor character that you only encounter like once or twice throughout the whole game, and it's still completely optional. It still feels like it's part of the world. Whereas in Skyrim, the NPCs feel like they exist purely for the purpose of like existing to fill space, if you know what I mean. Like, they don't feel like they're real people living in this world. They feel like cardboard cutouts who purely exist to offer you quests or to provide a service to you. And part of that is also hampered by the fact that Skyrim has so many of the same voice actors for each character, and I understand why. When you have a game that has literally thousands of NPCs, you can only have so many different voice actors, because it does, of course, cost a lot of money to pay these people properly, which, you know, maybe some of these people aren't being paid properly. I know that voice actors kind of get treated like shit in the video game industry, but I really hope that the Elder Scrolls 6 expands on that, and with the advancement of technology and how big Bethesda has gotten because of the success of games like Skyrim and Fallout 4, even though Fallout 4, of course, I have my criticisms of that game as well. I think that they have the time and the effort and the talent to put into the Elder Scrolls 6 to make it the best game that it can possibly be. And what I'm really thinking that they're going to do with this game, if it is indeed based in the Iliac Bay region, is there's going to be some sort of story revolving around the Durrani elves and the Durrani Tower. And if you are a fan of Fudge Muppet and Camelworks, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. There is a lot of lore around that region where the Durrani Tower is basically like the last pillar of the earth, and I feel like the Thalmor are going to come back, and I think that they're going to play an integral role in the story of this game. And I really think that Bethesda is going to pull out all the stops, because I mean, it's been 10 years since the release of Skyrim. Before that, the difference between time release between Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim was like 4 or 5 years. It's been 10 years since Skyrim's release, and they keep re-releasing that game. So you can only imagine that after the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, like we might not even see the Elder Scrolls 7 like in our lifetime, if ever, honestly. Like, this could be the last Elder Scrolls game in the main series for the foreseeable future. So you know that the guys at Bethesda want to pull out all the stops for this game. They want to make sure that it's memorable, that it blows everyone's mind, and I have full confidence that they're going to do that. But what I don't have full confidence in is that they're going to actually listen to their community, because Bethesda does have a tendency to release games that are in a really buggy state, or they're kind of underwhelming, and then just kind of let the modding community fix all their problems for them. That's a really shit way to conduct your business, and a lot of people are starting to catch on to Bethesda's trickery when it comes to this kind of shit. So, yeah, I just really hope that they do put all the effort necessary into making this game like the best that it can possibly be, while also making sure that they don't overwork their fucking employees, because we all know that the game industry is full of a lot of bullshit, and that a lot of these companies, I'm looking at EA and Activision specifically, treat their employees like absolute garbage. And Bethesda, I'm sure, is probably no better. So I want to have like the best game that we can possibly get, but I also don't want it to come at the expense of treating the people who are creating the game like expendable. Because they're not. These are human beings. You know, these are human beings like you and me. The only reason that you got to play Skyrim is because there were a team of thousands of people behind that game creating it. Maybe not thousands, maybe hundreds. I don't really know how big the development team was in Skyrim. I'm assuming it was huge. But we just have to remember that, hey, these people, the people who create our entertainment, the people who create our art, are people like you and me. And they deserve to get treated like they're worth what they're worth. You know, these people, they create art that thousands, if not millions of people across the globe enjoy. They deserve to be compensated fairly for that work, and they deserve to not be treated like expendable trash. So that's my thoughts on The Elder Scrolls 6. Really, really, really fucking hyped for this game. I need to upgrade my computer so that I can actually play it when it does eventually come out, which we're looking at like 2023, 2024 earliest release date for this. I mean, I'm not we have Starfield, Bethesda's other game, is coming out before that, so it's going to be a few years yet before we see even any inkling of gameplay from The Elder Scrolls 6, but I am still fucking hyped. I love engaging in the speculation of what this game might entail. I can't fucking wait for it. And when it does come out, I will 1000% be doing a playthrough of it on my gaming channel at Misty Walker. I will put a link to that in the description down below. Until then, I've been your host, Greg Ravengrave, in the skull mug, drinking L'Eau Claire from Domaine Berthiaume here in Quebec. I'll see you next time. Cheers.